Good afternoon and welcome back. Because we are back, obviously. We've got cotton buds, my oil, and my grease. Right. I'm just sucking, excuse the noise, I'm just sucking a humbug. Anyway, let's get my spectacles on. Right, what we're going to do, we're going to start by taking the cartridge out. Don't know how good the cartridge in this is, or the stylus, but the clip's a bit loose, so we need to look at that anyway. So what we'll do, we'll take the cartridge out. Get that up there. Put the screw back and put the screwdriver so it doesn't roll off. That's a bit of a long screw. Put this back in the head. Ooh. Back in the head so we don't lose it. There we go. Now let's disconnect the cartridge. Just one of them dead thin things. Well, the wires are. Let's pull the wires off. And I've snapped two of the legs off the cartridge. Lovely. I've snapped two of the cartridge pins off. Oh well. That's no great issue because I've got another one of these cartridges. So that's not a great problem. That cartridge is probably fucked anyway. I've got another one that isn't, so I probably won't put that one back in anyway. I'll probably use something else. So I'm probably going to change these leads over, these plugs. And there's a rubber bung missing from up there. Pull that out so I don't lose it. Put that up there. Should be a rubber bung in there as well. But it's no problem because I probably won't use that I probably don't want to use that cartridge anyway. Right. Now, this deck is actually in remarkably not bad nick. So I'm not really too keen on remembering where these go because and I've got a feeling that there we go. That one, I don't need to worry about the earth because the motor, I can service that without taking it apart. Right. These wires melt dead quick and your hands get red hot. Gets red hot on your hands. on your fingers trying to get them out. These wires that they used back then were crap. You can't even go near it with a soldering iron. And I've got a feeling that that goes right the way through. So I'll probably see if it does. If it does, if that comes in and goes over to here, I'm going to clip it there. But no, it doesn't. Some of them did. Looking at there, that wire's actually under that, and it shouldn't be. Right, so what we'll do next, we'll take the motor board off. We don't need the motor board for now. That's that one. And this is a UA. This is a, I think this is a UA 15 or 16 SS. It's one of them. That needs cleaning. And that's why you can date these. You can date these because although there's no date on the deck anyway, you can date these things because of when these decks were introduced. The mat needs a clean. It's not perished or anything, but it could do with a clean. Let's see what the idler, see what condition our idler's in. I mean, I'm not stripping this down. There's not really any great need to do that. You only have to strip them down when they're seized up and locked and don't want to behave. But this doesn't. This all works. So it's just going to get a service. Oops. It's just going to get a service. It'll be a full service, but not a strip down. It's not going to get a rebuild. Doesn't need it. Let's move some of this stuff out of the way. There we go. Pull that out. There we go. Now. That's a bit on the stiff side, that'll need doing. The activation pawl. Speed selector. It feels alright, but the motor needs oiling, needs cleaning. But that's all. The grommets are in good condition. Let's get the that's turnily. I mean, it's actually not bad. I think when they went out of the 70s and out of the 60s into the 70s, I think BSI started using different greases because they just right. So this has all got to be cleaned in here. So we'll get our cloth. Wipe that out. Pour some IPA in there. This is just getting a service. I'm not rebuilding it. There's no sense in rebuilding it. Put the IPA there. Need to spill it. It'll clean the turntable. Right, shift that out of the way. Clean all the muck and grease. That shouldn't have any grease on it. That shouldn't be greased, but obviously it's greased in. Either greased in the factory or somebody was a bit overzealous afterwards. Clean all this off. And it just all cleans off, it's not a problem. And that there is seized. That is always seized and it wears away the cam. So that has got to be unseized, and the way we unseize that is we just generally, there we go. That's it. Now what we'll do, we'll get a cotton bud, get a bit of IPA, and we'll clean all the grease, because that's not supposed to be greased, that. It does get grease on it because it rides on grease on the cam, but for the cam follower itself, which is this bit here, that's got it. For that cam follower, you just put a bit of oil in it. We'll do that now because it can be working its way in. There we go. You just need. I put a little bit more than what we normally use, but it does need a bit more because it was a bit seized. But that's perfect. Right. Take the thrust bearings out, the bearings in the thrust washer, and we also have this black rubber. Put that back on. The black rubber never seems to fail. Now let's have a quick look at the idler. Well, the idler's nice and rubbery still. That's a good nick. We don't have to take the idler off. We just clean it and just oil the pivot, the spindle that it's on. The motor. It's actually fairly clean. It just requires, there we are. That's all it needed. We'll oil the bottom bearing and we'll go under the mechanism in a bit. Now, give this, I'm not pulling it apart like I said, I don't want to pull it apart. Oh, I'm not on my finger, I can't see my chat. Bear with me. Can't even see, can't see what's happening here. On and drop frames. I wonder why it's doing that. It's probably the connection. That's all I'm putting it down to. I'm not worried about it. There's no point worrying about it. I can do that about it. Didn't do it last night. I can't see my chat. Mute that. Well, there's nobody chatting anyway. 5 people watching now. Yeah, or one person likes it. The disliker will pop up at some point. Don't know why that disliker bothers to pop up. Anyway. Right, so this is just going to get cleaned. I'm not doing a rebuild. Why? Because it doesn't need it. This is all in lovely condition. I mean, this deck itself is in lovely nick. It's only got scratches there where somebody's gone over. Somebody's dragged the stylus across and scratched the paint. The monarch badge is not in bad nick. Rest of the mechanism's actually quite good. So what we'll do, we'll clean the grease off the push pad. I mean, they never wore out, these mechanisms. They never did enough work to wear out. You know, there's just simply don't. Just, they were designed to be very simple, and they worked, they did the job. I mean, at the end of the day, they did the job. They were, you know, they weren't the best in the world, but they certainly weren't the worst either. I can think of things worth far worse than these. And then things are being made today, right now, as we speak. They begin with the letter C. So you're just cleaning that. There's no need to strip. Half the time you don't need to strip them, you just clean them. And there we go. All we do now, oil all the pivot points. Give all the pivot points a little drink of oil. A bit of oil in there, but that's going to be greased anyway. Oil these little pivot points here. It's not going to take long to service this. I'll tell you that now. Be done in what, 20 minutes if that. Doesn't take long to service them. It's only when you're boning them down to nothing, which we're not doing with this. It's only when you're pulling them apart completely. And you've seen me do these before, pulling them apart, so you know, we'll put some grease in there for the speed mechanism. I did put oil on there, but I'm putting grease in as well. Bit of grease here for the push pad. Just a bit there, because there was some. There we go. Just a little bit there. Just helps, it eases with the movement. Metal on metal. So let's try moving the speed control. It should be like butter now. It is. Let's get a bit of grease in here where, move that up, there we go. A bit in there. That's it. You should be able to just change that dead easy with no resistance hardly, and that's how it should be. Yep. I'm happy with that. Let's just check the mechanism here. Make sure that this is not sticking or... No, it's not. Let's check it turns off like it should. Push the push pad towards me. And down and off. That's working. See, sometimes there's just no need to actually go that far. Oh, lubricate the bottom bearing of the motor, we nearly forgot. If I can get into it, well, if I can't, I'm still lubricating it, but I don't want to, oops, I don't want to pull the motor apart because it doesn't need it. There we are, we got it. We got it. There's no need pulling something apart if it's no need. That's just wasting time when I could be getting on with another job. So what we'll do now, we'll clean the thrust bearings. And there's no grease in those, so they need to be greased. And there is supposed to be grease in these. You don't oil them, you grease them. Some people oil them, some people don't. But what I do, I run some oil down the spigot once it's all back together. And there's hardly any grease in these. Either somebody's been at it or BSR were incredibly tight with the grease gun. them back up with grease. Once you've got all the IPA out, make sure they all turn. They do, lovely. Yeah, they're all good. Let's pack them with grease. I did have a thinner brush for doing this, but I lost it. It'll turn up again at some point, but I just don't know when. But all you do is just pack it with grease, because this will probably never get serviced again in my lifetime, or any of our lifetimes. It'll probably never get this treatment again. In fact, this might be the last time that this record player's ever serviced. It may never get done again. I like to think that somebody will look after it, but you know, it never got looked after the first time round. So I don't see why anybody should go to the trouble of actually looking after it now, but people should. I mean, it should be looked after. It's an old record player, and you know, when we no longer have these, when these are no longer about, people will say, well, you know, what happened to all the old stuff? Well, it never got looked after, simply. To be quite simply, it never got looked after. So it ended up in the landfill and that sort of thing. It's a shame, but I mean, some things die and they have to go, but I mean, BSR probably made these decks to last about 10 or 15 years, with a life of about 20 years at the very, very most. But when you consider that the fact that they had they're still here now, it's a bit of a testament to them, really, isn't it? The fact that these machines, a lot of these machines are still about, and they're still capable of doing the job that they were designed to do all them years ago. Still capable of doing that job today. And there's a lot of stuff made now that won't be around. I mean, yeah, it feels sticky. The reason why it feels sticky is because what we do, we lift that up, get a grip of it, lift that up and then push it over to open that, get a clean cotton bud. And there might be just enough IPA here to just clean that, because we're done with it in a minute. Which is no crap there, but it didn't feel nice. Well, here we are, there's where the crap is. Yeah, it's a bit on there. And these are supposed to be dry fit, they're not supposed to be lubricated, these. And you put a drop of oil on the pivot, but that's it. Back into position, there we go, and then snap. Perfect. Put that back in. Put a bit of, just one drop of oil on the top. we go. Get that little bit there, there we go. Just get that little bit there, I don't want it getting off and getting under there. It's got it. There we go. Ooh. There we go. Grease. Put some grease on the cam. People don't do this, but you're supposed to. You're supposed to have a bit of grease in there. Don't overdo it, but just. And this thing's got a. And this thing will never get a bit in the middle there. I mean, this thing will never get a serviced again. I know that, they never do. Push the push pad so that it locks into place. Just there we are. That mechanism will work lovely and smooth now, like it was meant to do all them years ago. There we go. That in. I'll just give that a drop. There we go. Now, put that out of the way. Put that lot out of the way. Get me. I had an itchy nose there. Give that a wipe. Whew. What I'll do now, I'll put a bit of oil down the centre. There we go. I was a bit generous there because it has to go right the way down. Lift the turntable back off. There we go. That idler's okay. Yeah. Yeah, that idler's good. So what we'll do now, we'll connect this to the safe block. Before we put the main clip back on, we'll let it do its thing. We won't bother variacing this, it's only a motor. Yeah. It's only a motor, don't have to worry too much. I would have thought, there we go. That's a bit on the slack side that, but we'll give that, what we'll do, just get my bobbin or solder or something, there we go. Just put that under there, there we go, hold it straight. See, because that, yeah, let's see how the mechanism actually works. It doesn't stall. You've got to remember we are pressing on the motor. Yeah, that's going to need a bit of a clean, that idler. The mechanism works anyway. So what we'll do, we'll stop that. We'll give the idler a clean. I usually like to use a bit of sandpaper, like I can't find any. So we've got the IPA left. Yeah, there's a bit in there, so what we'll do is put that on, move that out. Oops. On 78. Clean all that crap off. There we go. There's all that crap on that motor. There we go. A bit stiff. No. Let me just stop that a minute there. Bloody thing snapped. It's the only problem with the bamboo sticks, they break. Wipe that bit of crap out of there. Right, let's just see if I can just give that a drop of oil. Went down that shaft. There we go. Let's turn it on. Ooh, that's perfect now. So now let's check, make sure that this is dry. I'll just use my shirt. Make sure this is clean. Yep. Yep. Why is that stuck in there? Why is that not springing back? That's supposed to spring back. Well, that's working. Oh, that's plenty there now. Yeah. So we'll look at why that's not springing back. That's supposed to spring back. That'll only be something simple. Well, that works. I wonder why that's causing, I wonder why that's not working properly. The spindle pops out. Well, that's doesn't want to come out. Maybe there's some crap on the bottom of this. okay now. That's coming all the way out now, yeah. Still not working all the way though. Let's see if I can turn this. No. Don't want to snap it. It goes in and it comes back out. But the thing is, we're going to do a couple of records on, that's the problem. That's not supposed to do that. Wonder if the spring's gone weak in the center spindle. Right. It'll probably drop both of those. Well, it didn't. See if it drops that one. It's supposed to come back out on its own though, it's not supposed to stay in there. So I'm not happy with that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop a bit of oil down the back of the centre spindle. That's it. There we go. That coming all the way out. Yeah. Well, that's lovely now. Yeah, and this here is okay. Oh no, it's not, that's a bit slow. So what we'll do, we forgot about him, we'll do that now. These actually lift off, these ones, they don't have a screw in them. There we go, they just lift off. Then you take the screw out. I forgot that. And you take the screw out, which is a clip, there's a clip there. A holding down clip, there we go. There's quite a few on the chat there, unfortunately I'm not going to get to that for a minute, but we will. Let's pull this out. Yeah, that's... Yeah, that's... There's no crap in it, it just needs oiling, that's all. And that bit there is supposed to be dry. There. See? I was holding that too far over. There you go. Perfect. Pop that. It can be a bit of a pain to get back in these. You have to sort of let them sort of find their own way. You have to sort of let them find their own way in. Because it can be a pain to get back in. And that should, there we are. Now let's see where we're at here, because I might have to press something under here. Usually you don't have this problem usually. Right. That's actually let's turn that off actually. Right, give that a bit of a jiggle and see where it comes out. That's it. Put the screw and the retainer back in. Usually helps to sort of like get in there, yeah. Well, where we want, there we go. Turn that slightly, get a turn on it, there we go, now we can drop that in position. We'll go too much. And then that just hooks under there. There we go. That's the Magic Disc selector sorted. And what we'll do, we'll drop a bit of oil, just because we're here, down the centre spindle. There we go. Well, I think that's okay. That now comes back out like it should. The reason why it didn't turn off, because that control arm was up, I think. Yeah, that was just up a little bit. Let's try. Let's just get a pile of records. There's 10 here, but it won't drop 10. This is all over. This can do 10. Might be able to. Make sure that we've got that right. Yes. And what we'll do next, we'll turn it on. Put the bob and the solder under there to just balance it. Oops. Drop 2. That actually dropped 2. But there again, it does that Streets of London one. It always drops for some daft reason. It always drops 2. That Streets of London one I think is too thin. It's dropping them one at a time now. Yeah, they're going down one at a time. Just may as well just hold this on. That's a good. Yeah, well, that's working lovely, that. How about that? There we go, it dropped them all. And the reason why it's done that is because the control arm didn't go all the way down. But they are here, they're clicking, it'll turn off now. There we go. That fly was a bit loud. Yeah, that's still staying in, but it'll pop out. The more it gets used, the better it will get. There's nothing I can do about it. It works. It works. It actually works, so that's good enough. Oh shit, my oil. I'm going to drop my oil. There we go. Give this a wipe down. Oh, and it needs a wipe, it's pretty clean, this machine, it's not bad. Or I want the clip for the turntable if I've not lost it. Where's that gone? There it is. Yeah. Yeah, you're probably wondering why I didn't do a full strip down. I just didn't want to. There wasn't really any need for a full strip down of this. I mean, the mechanism's clean. I mean, it will get polished when it goes back in. And then the screws will get polished. Right. But yeah, it'll there's nothing really wrong with this. There we go. Clip that down. We'll find a cartridge for it at some point. Turn the plug off. I have. Disconnect the safe block. Get that out of the way. Right. Let's come over to the chat. See what time it is as well. 4:38. Not bad. We've got the amplifier on. Right. Yeah, we've still got some drop frames. There's nothing I can do about it. I ain't even going to worry about it because it's beyond my control. So, hello Theo. Yeah, good afternoon again, my friend. Hello. Hello Kevin, love it. Hello Love Egg. Not allowed to be naughty, no, that's very true. Yeah, cheers for that, Theo. Yeah, it looks all right. It was in good condition before I started, and I just don't see the point. I really don't. You know, don't see the point of stripping it when you don't have to. Yeah, well, some of that's got nothing to do with electronics. I think I'm going to have to say goodbye to Love Egg and Kevin love it because they can't talk about electronics. So, looks like I'll have to say goodbye to you guys. Sorry, but you know the rules. It's electronics and you can't talk about it then. Goodbye. I mean, it's not too much to ask for people to just do what you want them to do, given if it's your channel, you expect people to do what you want. You know, at the end of the day, people can't behave and talk about electronics. Not interested. lesbians and box lickers and shit like that. That don't bother me, and I don't want it on here. So you know, if people can't talk like that properly, then they'll get blocked. It's as simple as that. I made that clear the other day. People are going to just use my channel to do that sort of shit. It ain't happening. Sorry, but that's the case. And you know, what can you say? People can't behave, then they go. You have to get rid of them. But you know, if people want to talk like that, then or do that sort of thing, then they want to go on to. You know, there are places in the world where they can go and do that. You know, I've got a feeling I might have to put some terms and conditions up on here, because you know, obviously me saying it is not enough. People just don't listen. But at the end of the day, they will listen because they get blocked. Anyway, folks, yeah, we're at the end of this now. Yeah, we're at the end of this now. We've got the I suppose I could put the record deck back in, couldn't I? You know, may as well finish it off. Move, Scraps, move! You dopey leader. There we go. I may as well clean the motorboard and put the mechanism back in. Where's my cloth? Give it a wipe. That's all it needs. Just got dust on it. Somebody's trying to wrench that off there as well. Let's give this a bit of a quick wipe, and it can go back in. These SRP 31Ds weren't as good, in my opinion. That is, they weren't as good as the 31C and the 31. I think the 31 and the 31C were better. I think that, you know, I think they sounded better as well. But that's only my opinion. I mean, at the end of the day, everybody, I suppose, has a preference. You know, I suppose it's personal preference. I prefer the 31s, but doesn't mean I'm right. Just means that's what I like. And some people might prefer these. They were by no means bad. I just don't think they were as good. Although the amplifier were practically the same, with the exception of the valve line, or with the exception of the valve layout. Valves were different, but that was about it. All the components seem to be the same. Let's get rid of that over there for a minute. Right, this one here is to the output. To the input even, we'll get it right eventually, and that'll have to be retrimmed and redone before it gets soldered back on. But what we'll do, we'll clip, I'm going to find my specs, there they are, we'll clip these down a little bit, we'll redo them, because there's enough. Get that one off. There's enough to redo them. Put new ends on them, fresh ends. Yeah, these wires that were made in the 60s, these wires that Bush used, they weren't brilliant. You know, it has to be said, they were a bit, to be honest, I must be honest, they were a bit naff. This might be Christine. So the gate. There we are. I don't think it was. There we are. Oh, it is. I'll have to cut that one, I've gone too far. Hey Christine!
Hey Andy, you alright?
Yeah, do us a cup of tea.
Have you not had a cup of tea since I told you one?
No.
Has he had his bonio?
Jumbo.
Has he had his jumbo?
He's had half of it, he didn't get a full one because it's too big then. So I cut it in half, so he's got half for tomorrow. Yeah. Because they're a bit big then, Christine. No wonder he shit on the floor last week. I'd shit on the floor if I ate one of those. Well, actually I wouldn't shit on the floor, I'm just joking folks, but you know, he had an accident last week and he's not done that for many, many years. But he had a bloody great big jumbo. So he probably got caught short in the night. He normally wakes me up, but he didn't, so you know, you can't punish him, can you? And I don't lay a hand on my dog ever, and woe betide anybody else that ever does. I don't see the need for it hitting women and animals. Don't see the need. I'm going to wrap that round there, and then I'm going to melt it on. There we go. I'll come and have it in. I'll come and have it in there. Let me just solder these wires on. I'll come and have it in there with you and have a chat. Oh. That's made that one a bit shorter. That's brilliant, isn't it? I mean, once it's soldered, that's not going to reach half a. Well, it will now by moving that round. That'll give it a bit of extra clearance. There we go. So what about that one? Now that. Oh. Now let's pull them out there a bit. Yeah, it just reaches. Pull that one a bit further. There we go. If anything, I can. You'd have thought they'd give you a bit more wire just to give you that bit of clearance. Made sure they give you just enough, didn't they? Right, I'm going to have to join some onto those because they are just not enough. Right. And I wouldn't mind. I already snipped the ends off them. I mean, it's not like I took anything. Can I bend that there and bring that down a bit? If I can, then it'll, yeah, now it'll reach. And I've put that in the wrong place anyway. There we go. you would have thought they'd give you a bit more wire to, you know, give you just enough. They put just enough in. Just enough, which is stupid. There we go. There we are. And that one will go through there, no problem. Just pop that one into there. There we go. Wait for it to, there we go. A little bit there to get, because it's got, the deck will come slightly forward and down anyway, so. Put a bit of, I'll be through in a minute. I'm going to end this stream in a minute, folks, as you've probably guessed. But I'm not sure why these were called SRPs, because they're actually mono, and I was under the understanding that SRS stood for stereo, but am I missing something? Does anybody know why? See, there's enough there, so we're alright. We've just managed it just by bending that tag board down a little bit. Give us that little bit of extra clearance. Right. Yeah, they're not they're not pulling them, they're good. They're okay. Right, well, I'll put the deck back in after. I'm going to go and have my brew and have a chat with Christine. I'll catch you later, folks. Be back on in a bit. Bye for now. Right, and stop stream. Absolutely. If you haven't subscribed and you want to, then go ahead, and if you click the bell, you'll be notified. But anything other than electronics, you'll be blocked. There we go. Bye for now.